Most people think they can afford their car. They're wrong. Not because they can't make the payment, but because they've never calculated the risk. If your income stopped tomorrow, how many months could you keep paying for your car? Not rent, not food, just the car. Most people don't know, and that's where financial stress actually begins. Later, I'll show you why a payment that feels comfortable at first often becomes psychologically heavy after just a few months. I study financial stress patterns, and car payments are one of the most underestimated risk multipliers in middle-class households. Dealerships don't sell cars, they sell small numbers. $16 a day, only $498 a month, because small numbers feel harmless. Large commitments don't. According to data from the Federal Reserve System, nearly 40% of Americans would struggle to cover a $400 emergency with cash. Meanwhile, the average new car payment in the United States is around $700 per month. Used cars average over $500. If millions struggle with $400 once, how are they committing to $500 to $700 every month for 5 to 7 years? This isn't stupidity, it's framing. And framing changes behavior more than math does. Let's look at Marcus, 29 years old, $62,000 per year, about $4,000 per month after taxes. After rent, food, utilities, insurance, and gas, he has $1,270 left. So when he's offered a $498 SUV payment, it feels manageable. It's only $16 a day. 16 feels small, 500 feels heavy. The brain prefers small numbers. So Marcus signs. And for the first 3 months, nothing feels different. That's the dangerous part. Fast forward 14 months. A restructuring email hits his inbox. Suddenly the calculation changes. But that shift doesn't start with job loss. It starts much earlier. There are 2 types of car buyers: cash flow thinkers, net worth thinkers. Cash flow thinkers ask, "Can I make the payment?" Net worth thinkers ask, "What does this obligation do to my flexibility?" That's a different equation, because that $1,270 Marcus had left, it wasn't surplus, it was margin. And margin determines whether money feels calm or tight. When fixed costs rise, flexibility shrinks. And stress doesn't come from payments, it comes from reduced margin. Creates not only financial security, but also emotional peace. When unexpected expenses arise, a well-padded savings account becomes a buffer, easing anxiety and allowing for sound decision-making. Rather than viewing car payments as just another monthly obligation, consider how they fit within a broader financial strategy. A strategy that prioritizes flexibility and resilience. You're no longer reacting to life, you're prepared for it. Ready to adapt to life's unpredictabilities. This mindset shift radically alters your relationship with money, from a cycle of stress to a pathway of opportunity. Margin doesn't just protect your finances, it protects your peace. $500 per month for 6 years. That's $36,000. Invested at 8% annually, about $44,000. Do that 3 times over a working lifetime, now you're looking at over $130,000. That's not a car decision, that's a retirement decision. The car signals lifestyle, the investment signals optionality. Most people choose the signal, few choose the optionality. Interestingly, the wealthiest person in Marcus's office drives a 9-year-old sedan. No payment, no stress. From the bank's perspective, Marcus is a perfect customer. From an investor's perspective, he just reduced his optionality. Wealth doesn't signal loudly. It protects margin quietly. A car doesn't signal wealth. It signals financing capacity. Those are not the same thing. Car decisions aren't transportation decisions, they're identity decisions. The SUV makes Marcus feel stable, successful, like he's progressing. Then social proof kicks in. Everyone finances. Then optimism bias. It won't happen to me. I'll figure it out. The brain assumes continuity. Until continuity breaks. 6 months in, something subtle changes. Marcus checks his banking app more often. He mentally subtracts $498 before buying anything. He says, "I'm good," more than he means it. He's not broke. He's tight. And tight money changes behavior. Less spontaneity, more hesitation, lower perceived freedom. The SUV that symbolized progress now represents obligation. That's the psychological weight I mentioned earlier. Lifestyle creep rarely feels dramatic. It's incremental. $150 more here, $200 more there. Individually harmless. Collectively oxygen-reducing. Think of margin like oxygen. When it's abundant, you don't notice it. When it's thin, everything feels harder. Eventually, Marcus builds his savings to $10,000. Same car, same $498 payment, but the stress fades. Why? Because the psychological weight of a payment isn't defined by its size, it's defined by what stands behind it. $900 in savings feels fragile. $10,000 feels stable. The payment didn't change, the cushion did. If your income stopped tomorrow, how many months of car payments could your savings cover? Not living expenses, just the car. If it's less than 3 months, the payment isn't affordable, it's fragile. This isn't about shaming car payments. Cars aren't evil. Financing isn't immoral. But there's a difference between looking stable and being resilient. Most people optimize for appearances. Investors optimize for flexibility. And flexibility is what protects you when life gets expensive. If you think like an investor, you don't just ask, "Can I afford the payment?" You ask, "What does this commitment do to my future options?" Because financial confidence doesn't come from what you drive, it comes from what you can withstand. If you value margin over signaling, subscribe. Here, we don't chase lifestyle. We build optionality.